Let me first say, I think we're in a very dark space. But like Reedy, I think that the current space we're in is showing a lot of possibility, showing the best of our society at times in the people who are responding to state capture and the social crisis. But it's also revealing the worst and the damage that is being done. And I think the damage is far more serious than most of you sitting around this table can possibly imagine. You know, I've spent the last 3 days in this Life Esidimeni arbitration, and I'm going to be there, and I'll probably go mad after another 2 weeks of listening to what you're having to listen to there. But what Life Esidimeni is showing me is the extent to which the loss of values and corruption has seeped down from the top into every level of the daily delivery parts of government, and the extent to which callousness and self-interest and corruption now governs decision-making, whatever the cost in life. And in this instance, the cost in life was at least 118 people who were basically shipped out like cattle, sold to NGOs, to all intents and purposes, that were not really NGOs, they were fake NGOs, who could make money out of these people, but had no skills or capability or health knowledge, and people died. And when you see that, and when I simultaneously in a month's time will have to go to Limpopo, Peter, because I want to come back to the state of our basic education, because to get to quality tertiary education, higher education, there's a massive job we've got to do about our basic education system. But to have to go to Limpopo for a trial on November the 13th, that is about a little boy who went to the toilet, 6 years old, at break time, and fell into a pit toilet and drowned in the shit. Let's not beat about the bush. Drowned in the shit at the bottom of the pit toilet. And in that year, or the year before, 2.5 billion rand had been stolen out of the budget of the Limpopo Education Department. So you want to talk about join the dots. That's the dark side. Now what I think we as privileged people have all got to be aware of is if we don't show some sympathy with the dark side, and if we don't start to act against that and show solidarity, then at some point, not too far away, the anger will overwhelm. And then discussions like this will start to become academic, because the situation will have spiraled beyond our control, as Peter and people will know, does happen. Countries do break down. They do get beyond the point of human agency. We're not at that point yet. And as Peter saw, and Reedy is a living example of, we have brilliant resources and skills and ideas and young people and opportunities. We have to marshal them. And that's a long way, Nick, to trying to answer your question by saying this. I don't think the future in South Africa, and possibly in the world, lies in political parties. I think it lies in political people. I think it lies in political people who find ways to work together, to mobilize quickly, to reassert values, to demand accountability at all times, and to recreate a vision of society. Now, we're lucky in South Africa. We don't have to recreate a vision. We have a beautiful vision, and it's called the Constitution. And you couldn't do better than our Constitution, and it makes us the most powerful people, literally the most powerful people in the world. I honestly believe you will not find many people with more power, legal power, than a South African citizen or a person in South Africa. But we're not using that power for the most part, or we're leaving it to a few people, usually activists, which is a growing band, but we're leaving it to a few people to fight for a lot of people. So activism, for me, it's about imagination. Political parties and ideology is tired claptrap for the most part. And that's why our trade union movement's going nowhere in South Africa. They talk a language that died about 50 years ago. We've got to invent a language that people can believe in, about a society that people can get to, and then start organizing around that vision. When we grew up as activists, yes, we were involved in independent civil society movements. Some of us were involved in more crazy ones than others. But the political party was something to which people ceded trust, ceded expectation that a political party would bring about change. And that's very much what happened here as well, naively. The ANC, okay, we can leave it to the ANC. The ANC is in power, et cetera, et cetera. I think that age has passed. I think that any political party, and including South Africa, whether it's the DA, whether it's the EF, or ANC, will get captured, will get corrupted, will become the subject of forces that try to bend it to their own interests. Political people need to now become mobilized and political on an ongoing and a constant basis. But we can't do without parliaments, and we can't do without political parties. We just need from outside to do more to make them act in accordance with the people's will and to express the people's will more strongly from outside. And I don't want to talk too much about it, but just make one other point, which again I think is a generational thing, which is I think that when we were younger, activism was, particularly if you were middle class, it's not something you had to, it was a life choice. It was about beliefs and the values, etc. You could have gone in different directions. You probably could, I probably could. I chose. I don't think today activism is so much a life choice. I think that the way the world is pushing in on us with its inequalities, with the drastic consequences of corruption, with climate change, etc., means that, as in the way Nick was asking the question, to some extent all people have to find ways of political activism, which doesn't mean you become a 24 hours a day political activist or that you make that your career. But there are ways for all of us to constantly engage our society for good.